Greetings to the brethren. I greet you in the name of our Lord, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, the Great One, who has defeated the enemy and taken the keys of hell and death. Guys, today I wanted to give you guys a list of 5 qualities which I have found in my personal experience interacting with the Lord seem to please the Lord greatly. So if you're ever wondering, what can I do to make the Lord happy? We know that all things were and are created for his pleasure. But if you want to know what you can do to make the Lord happy, I experiment a lot in my daily life, praying, talking to the Lord, doing different things. And in this blessed year that I've had now since I was reborn, I've discovered 5 qualities that I think, in no particular order, I have definitely seen that they make the Lord happy because I can see how the Lord is interacting with me. The reason that I list qualities instead of outward actions is for this reason. I think people can seriously underestimate how important it is to the Lord, the state of our heart, what we are imagining in our heart. Call it the inner man, call it our inner world. But I think that in the world we live in, this world of the flesh and so on, people always say things like, well, it's about what you do. It's about taking action. At the end of the day, it's not words that count. It's what you do and so on, because that's all that we can see. We can only see what people do. So it makes sense that we judge people based on that. We don't know what they're imagining in their heart. Somebody might totally hate us, but if they always act nice to us, we think, oh, well, I like that guy. However, you have to realize that the Lord does not see as men see. He sees right through us. Whatever is in our heart, that's as apparent to him as our face when you look at somebody. And if you look through the scripture, you can see various points where if you look at the scripture closely, for example, and before the Lord wipes out the world with the flood, when he says that it repented him that he had made man, what does he say? Does he say they were all doing a bunch of evil? No, he says the imaginings of their hearts were only evil all the time. So that shows that the Lord literally destroyed the earth on the basis of looking into people's hearts, and that's what really affects the Lord. So I would say that, in my opinion, the most important thing is to really guard your heart and which is to say your thoughts, your inner feelings, because we have a great degree of control over that. And what I find is that if you set your heart as close to correct as you can, the actions just naturally flow from that. It's just inevitable. From your heart, your words come, your actions come. And so if we wrestle first and foremost with the state of our heart, that is very important to the Lord. I recall another moment in the scripture when I forget which old school prophet it is that the Lord says, look, I'm going to show you what they're thinking in their hearts. And he has him make that hole in the wall. And the guy sticks his head in and just sees all this horrific stuff. And the Lord's like, yeah, that's what I think they were the Pharisees or whatever are imagining. And so it's very important to the Lord what's in our hearts. So with that said, here's my list of 5 qualities that you can strive for to kindle like a fire in your heart, and they'll naturally be expressed in action. And I wrote down one thing here at the beginning. The reason that this is so important is because people think in their life like, well, I have all these problems. I have my wife, my relationship. I got my finances, there's my job. There's this thing I want. There's this health problem I have. But in my experience since being reborn, what I realized the other day is really there's only one problem in your life, and that's your relationship with God. The reason I say that is because it's incredible the degree of sovereignty that the Lord has over everything in our life. He can do anything he wants with any area of our life just by snapping his fingers or speaking. I don't know exactly how he does it up there on the throne, but what I've seen is it's like nothing for him to do anything in our life. So what I find is that if we really concentrate on pleasing him and we really struggle and just keep orienting ourselves towards what can I do for the Lord? How can I please the Lord? If we do that to the Lord, this is just my personal experience, it's like as if he says, you're struggling to please me. You're taking my problems on yourself. Say we're trying to, whether it's preaching the gospel or being kind to everyone we meet or studying the word or, what you might say, doing work for the kingdom, as they say. If we take the Lord's burdens onto us, it's as if he takes our burdens onto him. But it's a great deal for us since he's God. And so when he takes our burdens on, he can deal with them easily. And he takes a lot of weight off of our shoulders because he wants us to keep doing that. And so That's why I say that we really only have one problem in our life, which is our relationship with him. If we make our relationship with him just really good and he's very happy with us, we don't even have to ask him for things. He'll just do things without us even asking. That's my experience. So with that said, let's jump into the list. So the first quality I found that really pleases the Lord, seems to please him so much, is faith. I'm going to start by reading a little bit from Hebrews. This is Hebrews chapter 11. I'm going to read 1 through 6. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. By faith Abel offered unto God a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, God testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. By faith Enoch was translated, that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony, that he pleased God. But without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So, what is faith? I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can describe it, but one way I think of it is faith is like choosing to believe something. People always talk about evidence. Blah, 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 evidence. Dude, I get so sick of it. Because whenever people are talking about that, it's like they have faith in the evidence. See what I'm saying? You can show me evidence of something. I could be like, I don't believe that evidence. That's false, right? People are like, I believe this because the evidence said so. No, you have faith in the evidence. Even if we know the evidence is true, you have faith that the evidence means what you think it means. Evidence could be true, but what if it doesn't mean what you think it does, right? So faith is just raw throughout all of our thinking, because it's literally impossible to think or to know anything or to function without just assuming certain things must be true, right? There's no way you're going to find a perfect chain of evidence that all proves itself. Impossible, right? So at some point you have to say, you know what? Of all the facts swimming around in my mind, of all the potential things, I'm going to assume that this, and this are true and act on that. We all do that, whether we admit it or not. But at least when you have faith, you're being honest with yourself of where you're choosing just to believe something. Whereas people who say, well, I have to believe this because of the evidence, they're just not being honest with themselves. They have faith in the evidence. So what I want to say about this quality of faith is, man, the Lord really rewards it. Now, of course, we all know that our salvation came because we had faith in the gospel. We believed in the death, burial, and resurrection of the Lord Jesus as payment for our sins. And as a result of that, the Lord gave us salvation, a gift of inexpressible magnitude. But what I'm talking about here is beyond just that. If in your daily life, you go through life and you just choose to have faith in the Lord, you pray to him about something and then you just choose to have faith that he's going to take care of it. It's like taking a bit of a risk, right? That's how you really express the faith in action. In this list in Hebrews, we're seeing, the Lord lists various historical figures and tells us how they had faith, how they expressed it in action, right? That's really where the meat hits the bone, to use something that's not really a metaphor, but that's what that is. So that's what the point is that you can express your faith in action. And when you do that in your day-to-day life and you just trust the Lord and you just count on him and you just go forward, I wrote, if you act as if the problem has already been solved, take a little risk and trust God. It's as if it creates a faith feedback loop, because the Lord is always watching our heart. So when he sees you take that little leap of faith, it's like, I don't know why I don't fully understand it. He really, really likes faith. I see this with him a lot. He loves it when we have faith in all these areas in our life. When you take that little leap, you have that little bit of trust. You just, you know what, the Lord's got this. You go forward. Oh, he'll make a way, and then you're like, oh, wow, he came through. And then so you have a little more faith. Then he comes through again. Create like a sort of an upward spiral. Just choose to have faith with things. Just keep picking faith. If the Lord communicates something or tells something to you, just act as if it's written in stone. We always have the free will to interpret situations however we choose. And so I highly recommend that if you pray about something, you see a little sign that looks good, assume that's it, baby. The Lord's got it. thank the Lord for it, praise the Lord, keep going forward. And if something doesn't look good or doesn't seem to be working, still choose to have faith. Just be like, the Lord's got this. This means nothing. I'm going to keep going forward. I'm telling you, he loves this attitude. I know this from experience, just trying to do it. I'm like, wow, he really rewards it when we have faith, when we just keep choosing to trust him. We keep believing what's written in here, not just the gospel that gets us saved, but everything that's written in here. So what I would say is always err on the side of assuming everything is from the Lord, that it's not a coincidence, that it is meaningful. Thank him for it and keep moving forward. He really likes that. And this will strengthen your faith, because what you'll see is that when you act in faith, he responds. That's just what I've seen in my own life. He really likes faith. It's such a pleasing quality to him, which brings me to, I believe it is here. Yes. So this is Mark chapter 11, verses 20 through 24. And in the morning, as they passed by, they saw the fig tree dried up from the roots. And Peter, calling to remembrance, saith unto him, Master, behold, the fig tree which thou cursed is withered away. And Jesus answered, saith unto him, and Jesus answering saith unto them, Have faith in God. For verily I say unto you, that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith. So, isn't that interesting there, that Jesus is saying, if you ask for something, if you believe in it, and you don't doubt and you have faith, you can cast a mountain into the sea. And this completely makes sense when you think that he's watching our hearts at all time. I have a theory. This is just my theory about, sometimes you see people putting out these words on YouTube where they say, the Lord says that he's going to do this great thing in your life and he's going to fix this. And now's the time you're going to break free and stuff. Now, I have a theory about it, because I've watched some of those videos myself and they came true in my life. I won't even go into the stories, but a bunch of times when I watch those videos, it's like, really, the Lord's going to do this? And I was like, sweet, yeah. And then it happened. I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then I was like, but how does the whole system work? What if someone who's not meant to see the video sees it? Or how does it work? Or what if he puts the video out, but I don't see it? And I thought about it for a while. And then I was like, what if he does this? I have no idea if this is what he does. This is just a theory I thought of. What if what happens is he tells the person giving the word to say that, say, the Lord's going to fix your finances or something. Right? And then the video goes out, different people click on it and people watch it. And now the Lord watches your heart as you're watching the video. And for the people who watch it and they're just like, this is probably just some video they're making to get clicks. I don't believe it, right? Somebody else is like, I don't believe it. But then one person's like, wow, the Lord's going to do this for me. Oh man, praise the Lord. The Lord sees that in that person's heart and then he fixes that person's finances. He just goes to see who has faith in what the word I put out. And if the people who have faith in it, he does it. Because I'm telling you, man, he loves this characteristic of faith. I'm going to honestly tell you, I don't think that there's been a single time since I've been reborn when I took a leap of faith in something in my life, when I had this choice. I'm like, the safer choice would probably be not get my hopes up. You know what I mean? Safer choice is, it's probably not it. Or the riskier choice is get my hopes up, believe in it, and go forward. I don't think that there's been a single time when I made that riskier choice and I got my hopes up and I went forward, that the Lord didn't then just as I was walking, the steps appeared in front of me. Every single time, he didn't once leave me hanging or didn't once have me disappointed. Each time I had faith and I took it, I was like, it actually worked? Whoa, crazy, praise the Lord. But then, of course, you're still doubtful the next time. You're like, will it work again? I don't think there's been a single time when it didn't work. And all I can say is he's watching our heart and he really likes us to have faith and hear us. The Lord Jesus says, if you want to cast a mountain in the sea, if you got enough faith to believe in it, the Lord will do it. So that's what I'll say about that. He really values this characteristic of faith. And when you're having that struggle, I think he knows it's hard for us to express faith, right? Because it's like a risk. You don't want to get your hopes up. You're like, it could be a coincidence. Choose to believe it's not a coincidence. Choose to believe the Lord's got your back. Take the risk. Take the risk that you'll be disappointed. Take the risk. I'm telling you, he sees you taking that risk and he's not going to smash you. He loves that quality for some reason. I have a whole other sermon about my theories as to why, because faith is kind of like making a sacrifice. Anyway, I'll go off into that another sermon because I got to keep going with this one. Otherwise, it's going to be 2 hours long. Yes, that's the first quality. Okay. And remember, these are all practical things I've noticed in my life. I wrote the qualities first, and then I searched for scriptures that link to them. So this isn't theoretical here. This is practical, what I've experienced. All right, the second quality that really pleases the Lord. And realize that this is all a two-way street, baby. When you're pleasing the Lord and you're doing the qualities, another way that I could say it is these are the qualities which I've noticed the Lord most responds to in my life. When I'm really doing this stuff, the Lord is just managing stuff in my life. I'm even witnessing things that are like borderline miracles. Like, it's incredible. And anyone who wants to see it yourself, the Lord is no respecter of persons. But what he does respect is the state of our hearts and what we do. And so if you want to see the Lord doing incredible stuff in your life, express these qualities. Struggle for them. They're not always easy. A lot of times they're not. But fight to have these qualities in your heart and express them. The Lord sees that, and man, it really makes life amazing. Stuff happens in your life. So the second quality, this is what I call charity or loving kindness in your treatment of others. Look, this one I can sum up pretty quickly. It's really important to the Lord how we treat others. Very important. In fact, after I made a sermon a week or two ago, Mike sent me a message and he said, Evan, a good way you can think of it is the way you treat others. It's almost as if you're teaching the Lord to treat you that way. You're like training the Lord with how you want to be treated. And I thought about it. I was like, yeah, that is like a good way to put it. It's like you're showing the Lord, this is how I would like you to treat me. And it's really, really true. Because the Lord is perfectly just. Believe me, he can fix the stuff in your life as if it's nothing. For him, we're like ants in his sight. He can fix it so easily. So why doesn't he just fix everyone's problems everywhere and just, and look, there's a lot of reasons why, but like one reason why is he's fair. He's just. Yes, he can do miracles, but he's not just going to fling them out to everyone at all time. And they wouldn't even really have any value and it wouldn't really be right. But he's very just. I can see how the Hindus got the whole karma idea. Because if you don't understand God the Father, I see how you could think there's like some law of karma. Of course, that's not it. But God is very just, right? He lets us reap what we sow. And I'm knowing him, he wants to treat us all the best he possibly can. He wants to do miracles for all of us. He wants to raise us all up. But he acts justly. He acts fairly. So if there's two people and one person's kind of complaining and they don't have much faith and they don't really believe in him and they're, acting kind of selfish, is he going to treat that person the same way as someone else who's praying 20 times a day and just has all this faith and puts everything in his hand and is just glued to the word? I mean, from what I can see, he's not going to, because it wouldn't be just. It wouldn't be fair. That would devalue all the work that the second person had done. So anyway, he is like a mirror in a lot of ways. He gives us what we sow. And like I said, this quality of charity or loving kindness towards others, he really reacts to that in my experience. If you want him to treat you really well, just treat everybody the way that you want him to treat you. Yes, I know I'm kind of making the whole, principle, the Jesus principle, treat others the way you want to be treated. This is my own little spin on it, but treat others the way you want God to deal with you. Let's go here. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Yes. So this is the classic one from Paul. Though I speak with the tongues of men and angels and have not charity, I am become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Charity suffereth long and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up, doth not behave itself unseemly, seeketh not her own, is not easily provoked, thinketh no evil, rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoiceth in truth, beareth all things, believeth all things, hopeth all things, endureth all things. So, a good way that I think of charity, a way that I think of it is when I interact with other people, I try to think, how can I serve this person? Because what is charity? It's like a freely given service, right? Now, most people in our modern society, they're so transactional about everything. It pains my heart. It grieves the spirit in me to see the way that people act in our world. They just act in a way to get something from other people. Or they're like, okay, I'll give you this if you give me this. And there's 16 million articles on the internet about how people could be using you, how to weed them out of your life, like blah, blah, blah. It's all how to be more selfish, right? I see charity as the opposite of that. Charity is when you're interacting with someone, anyone, someone you really like, someone maybe irritates you a little bit, it doesn't matter. And you think, God has put this person in front of me. God must want me to serve this person. What can I do to serve this person? Okay, maybe this person just wants to talk about something for half an hour. They just want someone to listen. I'm just going to listen to this person. Maybe this person is struggling with something and I can see something in their situation they can't. I'm just going to tell them maybe what no one else says to them. You know, maybe a homeless dude on the street, I got a couple euros on me, give it to the homeless dude. You know, maybe this dude going to the grocery store, say, hey man, you need a sandwich? I just grab him a sandwich, right? Like all depending on what the person in front of you needs. But you just look at it, you use your full discernment, you say, how can I be of service to this person? And then you do it the way I see it, almost as if it's your job. I guess that sounds strange. It doesn't mean like, oh, I just have to do this. No, as if the Lord said, Evan, your job is to serve this person. And you're just like, okay, how can I do it? I'll serve them like this. I will do this. And you just do it with a full heart. Just, you know, that's how I think of it. Like, it's not a compulsory thing. It's not something I feel like I have to do. It's just like out of genuine charity, out of a sense of just giving, you just do whatever you can to serve the person in front of you. You know, sometimes I'll just think of funny stories in my head. I'm very silly, you know, and sometimes I'll just send people messages and be like, I bet so-and-so would think this was funny. I just record some message. This is a funny idea I had just to make them laugh. You know, I think that'll lighten their day a little bit. But yeah, the basic idea is if you just interact with people like this, it really does affect how God treats us. You know, and I wrote down, go against the spirit of this world, which is a spirit of selfishness and crafty self-interest. That's all the stuff is online, is all about how you can, if you're a woman, you can just use men. And if you're a man, you can just use women, and how you need to cut your friends out of your life if they're taking more energy from you than you're getting from them. And it's all this chess game of everyone manipulating everyone else. You know, I said, this world mocks those who practice charity, and it praises those who are cunning and self-concerned. Well, you know what? Let's reject this world. Every time we go out there and we just serve people because we want to have charity, man. I mean, we see here how important charity is. Let's have charity because it greatly pleases the Lord. And when we act with great charity towards others, the Lord will act with great charity towards us. So if you want to improve your life today, if you want your financial this or that, man, isn't everything in our society like this one trick will make it better? And it's always like eat the omega-6 acid nuts and take a ice shower and look at a moonlight to awaken your brain receptors. And it's just always something. And I just laugh at it. I'm like, dude, that's not going to be the one thing that'll fix your life. That's not going to do anything. Even if it gave you the result you wanted, having more money is not going to make you happy. You know, like, but you want the one trick? Go around and treat everyone with tremendous charity. That works. Why? Because God sees that. And he then will say, wow, look at the charity that you are treating everyone with. It's like it just moves him. And he, being a just God, is like, how am I going to treat you today? Look at the charity I can do. Boom. And then he does it to you. And I'm telling you guys, we get such a good end of the deal. Because look, whatever charity we offer, whatever we do, it's very imperfect because we're imperfect, right? It's our righteousness is like filthy rags compared to him. But look at the good side of that. Being a just God, we render the best we can our imperfect service to him. And then he renders his service to us. But unlike us, he is perfect. He is all powerful, you know, and all he asks us to do is just give what we have. If we just act with charity, although it's imperfect, he doesn't just give us back imperfect charity. Why? Because he's not imperfect. He gives his charity to us, which is just incredible. I'm talking from personal experience. There's literally been things that have happened in my life. I'm not going to reveal them because the Lord told me not to, that were just like incredible. There's literal like miracles. I don't know any other way to describe them. And from what I can see, it has a lot to do with this thing here. Treat others with charity. Just give, just give, just give. When you're exhausted, regenerate a little bit. Be like, how can I serve? How can I serve this person? Be super polite to people. Be very kind. people say little things towards you that are demeaning or insulting, just completely ignore them and just keep treating them completely positively. Take out any shred of passive aggressiveness in your behavior. You are just Mr. Polite and kind and generous to every single person you speak to. Now, we won't do it perfectly. We'll still fall short, but keep trying to do it. He sees your heart. He sees you're struggling to do it. You're struggling to do it. And when you do that, man, you want that one trick that's going to make your life better? Do that, because the Almighty God sees you doing that, and then being a just God, that He will reflect that into your life. Because also, He wants you to keep doing that. He likes that. So when you're doing that, He's going to reinforce that with His almighty power. I'm telling you, all the secrets to life are pleasing God as much as possible, because for Him, do you realize what a trifle it is for Him to do anything? You're a man or a woman, you want to meet the perfect partner. Do you realize how He knows every person on earth? He knows the exact person that would be perfect for you, and He could easily put it in their heart and link the two of you up together. Easily. Now, of course, that's a giant thing, you know what I mean? But I'm telling you, if you please Him enough, you won't even have to pray for that. He's just going to do it, Actually, it reminds me of Martin Luther. You guys know the story of Martin Luther. At some point when he was in the midst of his little battle with the Catholic Church, he said, "I was in the midst of a deep theological study when the Lord suddenly plunged me into marriage." Basically, the Lord just hooked him up with this, I believe he married a nun. But Martin Luther wrote a lot about how, she made him so happy. She, for him, was the perfect woman. He couldn't have ever imagined anything greater. He said, "I wouldn't exchange all the wealth in the world for my Anna," or whatever her name was. Why did the Lord hook him up with that woman? Well, he was battling the Catholic Church, almost getting burned at the stake and stuff. He didn't even ask for it. He was just working on the next thing he was going to tack to their door. And the Lord was just this is just my view. I don't know this for sure, but I'm just speculating. The Lord was probably so moved by that. The Lord was like, you know what? I'm going to give you the woman that'll make you happier than any woman on earth. Ready? Here she is. Linked up. Done. He didn't even ask for it. The Lord just couldn't even help but just give it to him, because in my opinion, that's the character of the Lord, how just He is. So make the Lord happy, and, your prayers will get answered to a degree that's incredible. Okay. Next quality. All right, next quality is obedience. So, 1 Samuel 15:22. And Samuel said, "Hath the Lord as great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams." John 14:21. "He that hath my commandments, and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him, and manifest myself to him." Matthew 22:37. Jesus said unto him, "Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and all the prophets." I wrote down that one about the two commandments because, the previous quote we have him saying, keep my commandments. A lot of times people get it confused and think that it's the Old Testament stuff, and it's not, because if it was, then why aren't we out stoning to death women who commit adultery and, so on. But the commandments of Jesus are those two that I just read. Not that there's not much in the law that we are very wise to apply to our lives. I'm just pointing that out because sometimes people think that when Jesus said that, he's talking about the Old Testament commandments. But since it's Jesus speaking, I go with the commandments Jesus said, which are those two. And they kind of sum up everything. Love the Lord first and foremost with everything you got, and then treat others with love. But the subject of this is obedience. And, there was a time the Lord sent me a message one day and said something, to paraphrase him, something like, "Evan, your obedience to me is your source of strength. That's where all your strength comes from." And I've seen that to the extent that I stay obedient, that's when I have strength. Obedience to the Lord is so important. The best thing I can say about it is if the Lord tells you something, just do it. It always works out well. It always works out well for us when we obey the Lord. He's completely benevolent. Look, it's not always easy. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's a little harder, but just do it. Just do it. Just bite it down. Whatever suffering you got to incur by doing it, trust me, he's offering you a great deal. By disobeying him, we will incur much more suffering. Everything that he orders us to do is not just like he's some tyrant God telling us to do it. It's really good for us. He's telling us to do the thing that in the end will be the best for us and will bring us the most happiness. Even if momentarily it might not be like that and so on. All I can say is the best attitude you can have is just like a proud military commander. Why do I say proud? What I mean is think of him as like your commanding officer. And he's like, if he gives you some order in whatever form he communicates with you, just be like, sir, yes, sir. Just I'll do this, and if it's something that's like, it's painful, you don't want to do whatever, just think like, I will follow my commander's orders. That's why I say like a proud soldier who's like, if my commander orders me to crawl through this ditch, I will do it. And then just start crawling, all right? It's maybe a little funny the way I express it, but like that's the best attitude I found. When he orders you to do something, you just, sure, yes, sir, and you just do it. I'm saying this for your own interest. It's really good. The stuff he orders us to do is for our own good. It's not always apparent. Sometimes it requires letting go of things maybe we don't want to let go of. Other times it involves taking risks we might want to take. Whatever it is, the best thing to do is just do it. Just do it right away. Don't even think. Make it easier on yourself. Just do it right away. Take the pain, and trust me, within a short time, you will be happier than you were, and you'll be so glad you did it. And if you don't do it right away, if you delay a little, fine. Delay a little, but then do it. That's the best thing. Obedience to him is always a wise move. And just make it easier on yourself. Just do it. Plus, he really likes obedience. There's been times when he ordered me things that I'm like, I think he might just be testing to see if I'm obedient. I don't know for sure, but I'm like, okay, if that's what he orders, that's what I'll do. Most of the time, the stuff he orders me to do, it makes total sense. But occasionally, there'll be a weird thing that I'm just be like, okay, well, I will do it. It could just be a test. I don't know. I'm just going to do it. So I don't claim that I've been perfectly obedient, nothing like that. I don't think anyone's perfectly obedient other than our Lord Jesus Christ. But, be as obedient as you can because it always is in your best interest. Okay, next up, quality number 4, humility. Okay, James 4:6. But he giveth more grace, wherefore he saith, God resisteth the proud, but giveth grace unto the humble. 1 Peter 5:6. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. Matthew 11:29-30. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Man, I always thought that was strange when I first saw it. I'm like, the Lord is meek and lowly in heart? It seems almost paradoxical. I mean, isn't he the super God that created all the universe? And, we know he is, and yet he's meek and lowly of heart. And yet I would say in my experience interacting with him, that does seem to be how he is. So it's kind of strange, but that's just how he is. Well, he's perfectly noble and just and a being of pure light, so it makes sense that he is humble. Yeah, he really likes humility. That's another one I've discovered. I'm going to share a little trick with it about how to stay humble that I discovered that works well. Because it's kind of like walking a tightrope at times. Because on the one hand, you definitely want to be humble. You don't want to go off into pride or cockiness. That's not good. But me, I come from a life where I had a lot of depression, where I would just beat myself up all the time and be like, I'm not working hard enough. Oh, I've let them down again. Oh, I'm a bad person. I should have done better. And I just sit there just beating myself up constantly. And so it's kind of like walking a tightrope because on the one hand, you definitely don't want to go into pride, but also you don't want to beat yourself up either because he really showed me again and again, he does not like when I do that. He wants us to be, confident, feeling good, feeling positive, having a positive attitude towards ourselves, not going into pride, but also not treating ourselves almost like you would treat a dear friend or something, not like beating ourselves up or whatever. But I discovered a trick which seems to work well at staying humble, but not falling into beating myself up. And it's like, I just do this. Make fun of yourself all the time. I discovered this works really well. So like when I notice my defects and my insufficiencies, my weaknesses, I just laugh about them. And I kind of say, oh, yep, there they, oh, yeah, oh. poor Evan, he had to wake up at 10 a.m. today. Oh gosh, such a long day. Like if I'm starting to, be like, oh, I'm tired, I can't do it. I just start to make fun of myself. It works really well because that way you don't start beating yourself up because you're not taking it too seriously. So I just start talking to the Lord about my defects and flaws, but in a way that I'm like making fun of myself. And that way you don't start to get serious about it and feel bad about it. Instead, you just kind of like start laughing about it. So that really works well. Look at your insecurities, your weaknesses, and just laugh at them and just kind of point them out to yourself as if you were like, joking with your friends or something, but talking to the Lord. That's what I do, and it seems to work well because that way I don't get puffed up or whatever because I'm like laughing and noticing like my flaws, but at the same time I don't feel bad about them too much because I'm like laughing at them, be like, oh, look what I've done again, Lord. Yep, Lord, I was trying to serve you, but I accidentally did this. Okay, technically you may not like that, Lord, and I just joke with the Lord about it. And I think he likes that attitude. So that's a good way to stay humble. But yeah, I noticed that when you're talking to him, if I just talk to him in a way of humility, like, Lord, I'm trying to serve you. Okay, I didn't really do this the best, Lord. And I just kind of joke about it. Lord, I said I was going to make 6 videos today. Oh, it's 9 p.m. and I haven't started yet. Okay, Lord, I may have been slightly overambitious. You just keep joking about it. It keeps you light of heart. But that way it also doesn't allow you to get all puffed up and cocky either. So keep the humor flowing. And speaking of joy, number 5 is joy. Yep, that's the 5th quality. Galatians 5:22-23. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, faith, meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. Philippians 4:4. Rejoice in the Lord always. And again I say, rejoice. Psalm 16:11. Thou wilt show me the path of life. In thy presence is fullness of joy, and at thy right hand there are pleasures forevermore. And finally, Acts 5:40, and to him they agreed. And when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Jesus, and let them go. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. And daily in the temple and in every house they ceased not to teach and preach of Jesus Christ. So look, guys, this one honestly maybe has surprised me the most of all of the 5 qualities since I've been reborn. What I mean by that is to discover that the Lord really likes it surprised me. Because if when I was first reborn, you had told me, yeah, he really likes faith, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. Right? If you're like, he really likes it when you treat others with love and kindness, I'd be like, okay, that makes sense. But this one, like, he really likes it if you're just as joyous and happy as possible at all times. I'd be like, what? I thought Christianity was all about suffering. I thought it was like, you're getting lashed, and you're just like, look, the example is be like Jesus. Well, he was literally tortured to death. So you have to just go through life like, I have the crown of thorns. Yeah, I'll keep going forward. But what I've discovered is, though, look, there's going to be moments like that, but what I found again and again is the Lord likes it when I'm cheerful. And if there's one thing that seems to irritate him that I do, look, there's probably tons of things, but like the one thing that I've noticed is if I start sulking and being kind of down, being kind of like sulky about things, it's as if he kind of gets irritated by that. He doesn't like that. But if I start to get cheerful, he really likes that. And in fact, someone else in the inner sanctum, I can't remember who it was, but there was someone that I was interacting with months ago, and the Lord communicated something to both of us and said, like, when you're feeling that joy, don't interrupt it. Don't disrupt your joy. Keep going with it. Keep it going. I forget who it was. Was it Aubrey? I can't remember. Someone I was talking to. Remember the Lord said that to us? Don't interrupt your joy. That one surprised me, because I thought Christianity was all about being serious and just absorbing this pain and stuff. But what the Lord showed me over and over again is like, look, there's moments when we feel pain. It's inevitable. But to the extent that we have a choice, and we do have a choice a lot of the time, we should really choose to be joyful because that's the fruit of the Spirit. That's the nature of the Holy Spirit, right? That's the nature of the Spirit of God, is that we have a lot of choice as to how to interpret situations, as to how to react to things. And what I've seen again and again is the Lord likes it if we choose to have a joyous way. If something's going kind of miserable, I use the humor thing again. I start being like, I love this. If I'm out in the rain, I'm getting soaked and it's cold at first. I'm like, oh, it's cold, it's rain. Then I start saying, Lord, I love the rain. Oh, make it colder, Lord. Is this the best you can do? And I start, one day I just got soaked down to the bone. I was like, oh, I love being soaked. I started spinning around. I'm pretty sure the Lord was cracking up. I don't fully understand why he likes it. Of course, then again, it makes sense. He wants to see us happy. He's not some tyrant slave driver. He likes for us to be happy and have joy. So to the extent that it's at all possible, and it is much more possible than you realize, keep choosing joy. Choose to laugh at things. Choose to be grateful for things. Just joy, it's very contagious. It spreads to others. When you're in joy and you talk to the people, it rubs off on them. So it also fulfills number 2, the charity or loving kindness towards others. Because when you got joy going with yourself and you spread it to others, it infects them. Now, of course, there's this whole religion of the false joy, the false light, the new age. Oh, it's love. Yay, we love you. It's like, nah, dude, me looking at that with the Holy Spirit, I'm like, that's not joy at all. That's a weird form of bitterness and fakeness. Like, hello, yes, it's great. It's like, get away from that. I don't like that, right? But there's real joy, right? You can see now I'm experiencing real joy. I'm not just like, hello, everyone. Haha, like I can't even do the fake joy thing. Just click on any New Age video or just hang out with anyone from California. No offense to anyone who's saying this in California, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. The fake joy. Nah, the Holy Spirit is a genuine joy. And the genuine joy, unlike the grating fake joy that just creates a sickening feeling, the genuine joy is very contagious. It spreads to people, and especially now in these dark times when so many people are so down and the world is just steeped in iniquity and it's just so depressing. You look on TV, you look at the news, you're just like, oh God, why are the articles even say this? Oh, it's all a nightmare. When you have that joy in you, that is a gift of the Spirit. That is the second fruit of the Spirit here after love is joy. And you're spreading it to others. We are the light of the world. We are the world's salt. Let's salt it up. Let's light it up. Let's spread that joy because we are expressing the nature of our Lord Jesus Christ that he is showing us with his Holy Spirit. So joy is really important. And also just from a practical point of view as well, when the Lord first started showing me this, I was like, what? We're supposed to be joyous? I kind of have this idea like, we're like these grizzled soldiers who are like, like we're taking blows and we're just like, yeah, I'll turn the other cheek again. I imagine like spitting out blood. Like, yeah, I'll absorb more pain. I thought that's what it was, kind of dramatic. Like, how much can you suffer? And then the Lord showed me, no, that's not what it's like. Like, maybe there's some moment when it's like that, but like, you should not seek that out. Like, no, be joyous, have a levity. When I first discovered that, I was kind of baffled by it, but I thought about it and I was like, it makes sense just from a practical standpoint, because when you have joy, you can get stuff done much better. You have a lot more energy. Imagine like 2 people, are working the job. They leave Friday night. One person just has this miserable weekend and just endures all this slog and is exhausted. Comes in Monday morning, is just drained and is like, oh God, a day at work. The other person has like the best weekend ever, right? Just incredible, having so much fun. Best weekend of their lives. Now imagine you're the boss and you give them each an assignment to do. Which one do you think is going to like have more energy and do better at the assignment, right? We all know that when you're in good spirits, you just have more energy. You can endure more difficulty. You can concentrate better. When you're miserable and drained and depressed, if anyone's been depressed seeing this, oh, it's the year 2023. You all have. Yeah, you know what it's like. You can't even brush your teeth, all right? And when you're having joy, you're just a much more effective soldier. So as much as possible, keep up the morale. That's why morale is so important in combat. As troops sing their little songs, they beat each other up with soap and a sock, whatever they do for fun, Point is, you got to keep the joy going because it just makes you a better soldier. And a final note, look at this. I loved this part when they beat, Paul and Silas, or whoever it is here. I think it's Paul and Silas. And then they rejoice because they were counted worthy, to suffer shame. Or speaking of Paul and Silas, when they're in the prison, right? This is a good example of how much the Lord likes joy. They get imprisoned They've probably been tortured or something. They're sitting there in chains. What do? They start singing a song, praising the Lord. What's the Lord do? Boom! Earthquake hits. Everything pops open. Why did the Lord do that? Because they were in this really hard situation. They could have chose to be bitter. They could have been like, man, this is hard serving the Lord. When are we getting out? Nah, they had so much joy. They start praising the Lord. Hey, praise you for putting us in this prison. The Lord clearly was very moved by that. Bam! He's like prison doors opening up, Look at that. The Lord really likes joy. And think of how much joy those men must have had to endure everything they endured and keep doing it. So this whole idea like, oh, the Christians, they're just suffering and slogging along. It's like, no, if they had that attitude, they wouldn't have been able to do all that stuff. The fact that Paul was like, then I got shipwrecked, then I got beaten, then I got decapitated and someone put my head back on, then I did this. It's like, dude, to do that, he must have had a lot of joy going on. Think about it. If he was gloomy and didn't have much energy, he wouldn't have been able to go through that stuff. He would have given up. He would have walked away. He would have just been like, Lord, I can't take it. Just let me make shoes for a year or something. Nah, he didn't do that. He just kept signing up for more. Those men must have had great inner joy to go through all that they went through and still be praising the Lord and still be writing stuff down and still be doing that. Man, they must have had a fullness of joy like we can't imagine. And what a shock, because that's what the fruits of the Spirit are. So they had all the Spirit to do what they did. They had a lot of joy, enough that they were able to get through all those rough patches and go through it, because you need that joy, baby, Look at someone like Tom Brady playing football. He's obviously endured a lot of difficulty. But you know what? That man loves playing football, because who's going to play football better? Somebody who's like, I have to play football. It's my job. I'll go out here. Or Brady was like, he loves that, man. He wants that game, and that allows him to be a much more effective football player. And, that's why joy is so important. Okay, guys, speaking of joy, it's been a great joy to deliver this sermon. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I have a lot more coming soon. And really, with these 5 qualities, experiment with them. Try them. Do them. You will see how the Lord reacts to them. You're not having enough faith. Your faith's wavering. There's nothing better than to interact with the Lord, because then when you see his hand move in your life and you're like, whoa, that's not a coincidence. Well, how do you get him to do that? Well, of course, pray to him, but try to embody these 5 qualities. Keep choosing them in your heart. Keep selecting them. Keep going forward and just express them. I'm telling you, if you even do one solid day from when you wake up in the morning to when you go to bed at night, just fighting for these qualities, fight for them, express them. Oh, I'm getting joy. Oh, I'm going to do charity. How can I help this person? Man, I'm giving coins away. Man, I'm listening to this person for 3 hours if that's what they need. Whatever it is, just do it. Just do it. And the Lord will react to that, because he likes that and he wants you to keep doing that, because you're fulfilling his will by doing that. So when you do that, it will not be silent. He will react. I don't know how, but trust me, you'll notice, because all the little pains you have in your life, all your desires, he knows where those are. And he can just be like, these 3 things that have plagued you for a while, watch this. Ching, ching. Oh, look, they're gone. You wake up, this deep desire of your heart that he knows you have. Look how it's suddenly fulfilled. I don't know how exactly he'll do that. We leave that up to him. But I'm telling you, he's done that in my life, and just keep thanking him for it. Keep thanking him. Keep praising our Lord and Savior. So if you're struggling a bit with your faith, do a scientific experiment. Try to do these 5 things just for one day. And I'm telling you, he's going to react somehow, because he is a just and noble God, and he won't leave you hanging. He will never burn you when you choose to have faith. God's honest truth. Okay, everybody. Well, that's all I have for now. Thanks, everyone, for watching the video. And may our Lord Jesus Christ be with you. Let's get out there and fight spiritual warfare, baby. There's other qualities I could have listed too, but we'll save that for another video. Okay, everyone. Have a good day. Maranatha. And I'll see you out there on the spiritual battlefield.